A slightly controversial subject, it seems. I might have to actually tag this as controversial for YouTube's monetization system. But MrBeast with I built 100 wells in Africa. I've actually never seen a MrBeast video. I actually started hearing about MrBeast in memes, honestly. And I figured I'd give him a chance. Oh, Kip, he's got 121 million views on this video, 215 million subscribers. I mean, he could have 3 subscribers. It doesn't really make a difference in my personal opinion. I did want to just give this man a chance. Wanted to see what his videos were about. Wanted to see his style. Wanted to see what everyone was giving a big hubbub about, and kind of give my 2 cents on this. So we're gonna see how well this does. We're gonna see if people are interested in this. See if people aren't interested in this. And yeah, we're gonna see what MrBeast is about and what this controversial subject is gonna be.
This is the first of 100 wells we're gonna build in this video. Oh, water! You just witnessed a small village in Kenya get access to unlimited clean drinking water in less than a second. 1 down, 99 more wells in Africa to go.
So, like, that's a very strong start to the video. That is an excellent hook, actually. Compare that to how I started this video, right? How I kind of just rambled on, right? And people are going to be like, this guy's going to be boring, snooze, snort, right? That kind of thing. That's a strong start to the video. He immediately got to the point. They were digging wells. This is the first of 100 wells in Africa. Bam. Cuts to the water actually blowing out the ground, right? And it's like, it's exciting. It's snappy. It grabs your attention. That's 1 down. 1 down. Hey, we're here in Kenya building it for this village, right? Excellent hook. And I kind of want to look at this as kind of like what is he doing, right? From an analytical standpoint, what is he doing? How is he doing it?
You're gonna love this video. Combined, these 100 wells are gonna give around 500,000 people fresh water to drink. And after building some more wells on this side of Kenya, we flew south to the school system of Nairiri. And let's just say, they were really happy to see us. How's it going? It's not expecting this. Thank you.
I mean, so I guess there could be an argument being made from people that, like, want to think negatively of this, right? Like, oh, there's some astroturfing, or, they were told to do XYZ. Look, at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, like, he's going to do this for views in a capacity, right? Like, how many people do you know have drama channels that's all they do, right? They're going to cover a situation with potentially a React content creator that does something very questionable at somebody's house, right? Like, how many people are going to hop on that train and then 2 weeks after the situation, another video comes out on the situation to incite the flames once more of, oh, this person should be deplatformed, right? How many times have you seen that, right? Yeah, people are going to do certain things for views, right? I mean, sure, I would like to sit down and talk about finance for, 2 hours because I feel that I'm good at it, and I could do that, obviously with the disclaimer that I'm not, a financial advisor, right? But I could do it. Most people aren't going to want to sit down and watch a financial thing for 12 hours. There's incentive for me to do certain things for certain views. And things that I find interesting as well. So, I mean, it helps me bounce around. He helps people and he gets money back for doing it. Sounds like a win-win. Exactly. I mean, and that's like, who else do you see doing this? Do you see Bezos doing this? Like, to have money and just do super legit things? Yeah. No, that seems super legit. And yeah, you got to be able to fund new projects, right? Like, you absolutely have to, right? Like, I don't know. It's like, it's one of those things that I look at this and at surface level so far, dude seems like he's just living his best life. Dude's just doing things that whether it's going to be the best decision or not, he feels like this is the good decision and can get views, right? So yeah, I mean, cool. Bill Gates is one of I have to dig into him a little more. Like, that is one of those other, like, controversial ones that people like to make into a controversial figure. And because of how, like, it affects modern day, I don't really want to dive into that. I don't know. It's like, there's pros and cons. I personally have no issue with him, but I know other people are going to. Greenwashing his activities in the past. I don't know about that personally. So, I mean, yeah. I don't know. This is also probably a prime example of, like, let's just let people do their thing. Let the dude build wells for communities that probably need it, right? No, not everyone in Africa is living in a village like this. In fact, as far as I'm aware, certain sections in Africa are hyper-developed, right? I think their healthcare and dental actually exceed certain places in the U.S., if I'm understanding that correctly. Like, cool. Dude's just living his best life doing his thing.
Welcome. Not even sure how to react. I appreciate it, everybody. This village threw a welcome ceremony upon our arrival, and Nolan got really into it. Nolan's the most awkward person I've ever met.
Amazing.
That's a lot coming from me. And after being shown around the school...
Here comes our guest.
How's it going? Oh, you having a good day? It's nice meeting you. One of the teachers showed me where the students currently get their water, which is from this river. That's extremely unsafe to drink. This is where your students used to get water from?
Yes.
This is crazy.
Yeah. You know, students complaining of diarrhea, infections like typhoid, because this is the water we've been using. So we try to treat, but you see, look at it, you know, but at the end of the day, life has to move on. You have to get some water anyway.
This situation is obviously extremely sad. These children's lives are being limited and sometimes cut short from being forced to drink unsafe water. But
I mean, like, I think that's where people could probably be like, oh, well, what isn't Flint, Michigan's water still not safe to drink? Like, I think at that point, it starts to come down to people comparing, you know, like things. But at the end of the day, right, it's like, if both situations are similar or the same, right, or saying similar, giving it, you know, we're just going to say similar, and he wants to do it here, sure, I mean, I feel there's a definite impact of doing it in a village in Kenya versus doing it in Flint, Michigan, right? Sure, I would argue there's potentially an impact that can be made doing it here, you know? Like, I don't really see an issue. Because here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, you got to put food on the table. You got to be able to run your businesses, right? You got to be able to meet your obligations, meet your deadlines. I really don't have anything against that. And if you're helping the world, if you're helping people, whether it's giving, you know, dude on the street $10, you know, as long as you're not like, you know, trying to like harass him in any way, right? I mean, sure. And if anything, I mean, that's the Flint, Michigan one starts coming down into politics at a certain point, which like, I don't want to delve into that because like, yeah, why isn't that fixed so long later? Hurricane Katrina was a big one, right? 2005, commercials everywhere about Hurricane Katrina. Rise Against, song about Hurricane Katrina. As far as I'm aware, there's still issues, that, like still places that are still affected by Hurricane Katrina. So, I mean, like, there is the argument, yes, for commercialization. As long as someone's helping somebody, I think that's all that should really matter.
At least for this village, we're going to put an end to it right now. I don't think this John's going to fit.
Amazing.
I'm a big head. Let's see if we can find some water.
It is raining! It's beautiful!
After the water comes out of the ground, it's fed into enormous barrels like this one. And once they're built into the water towers, all of the neighboring villages will not only have clean drinking water, but a pressurized water source as well. Which, in short, means no more doing laundry and unsafe water.
And pull!
On a scale of 1 to Nolan's mom, how heavy is it?
Nolan's mom times 2.
Got him.
Dude, I'll push you off of this. All right, here we go. Under control.
We built 20 more wells in Kenya, and after we were done,
you see how snappy this video is? It's very snappy. Let's go back to that comp, right? So one, it has the progress in the upper left. You are always able to keep track of where you're at in this pipeline, this process, right? And then when you go into a situation like this, where he finishes explaining a topic,
we built 20 more wells in Kenya, and after we were done,
and then obviously it has a shot for emphasis, zoom in for emphasis. Like, it's very well done. Like, there's a lot of thought and time that goes into a lot of these shots. Like, I actually think it's really cool from somebody that watches content for effectively a living, right? Like, yeah, 9 to 29, right? And it's a very expedited way, rather than drag the video out to potentially 30 minutes, right? And this happened at well 13. This happened at well 14. Oh, we're going to talk to somebody between well 14 and 15, right? Wow, you got the cliff notes. Grats, we're at 29 now. Oh, hey, time for a funny.
Bro has another well in. Don't worry, I have more water in my other shoe. And just so you know how we built these first 29 wells, we used this giant drill to dig hundreds of feet into the ground, past the polluted sources and into an enormous aquifer of pure drinkable water. After that, we spent time installing pipes so that people all around Africa can access water from spigots like this one in Nairiri.
I guess you could also argue upkeep. Someone mentioned that if a well like this goes defunct or it breaks or something like that, it's almost impossible to repair. I mean, as long as you have the personnel and can train the personnel, to know what goes wrong and how to fix it, I don't see an issue with that. So I guess there could be an argument if this wasn't done, or if, if this is technology that they just don't really deal with, right, that it could cause issues down the line. I mean, it's entirely possible, but I mean, that comes down. I feel that the initial gift, like the initial action, the initial spark was done. After that point, it's on the hands of the people receiving that, right? So, like, for example, right, if you were to, I'm trying to find a good example. If you were to give your dad a gaming PC set up with Linux and Baldur's Gate 3, right? But he doesn't know how to run Linux, or he kind of knows how to run Linux, but he doesn't know how to operate it. I don't know how to operate Linux, being completely honest. I don't do that. And, eventually he ends up bricking it because, maybe he just deletes a drive or something like that, right? Like, is it on the person that you that gave it to them, you for giving it to your dad? Or is it on your dad for not understanding, not seeking out learning, understanding, etc.? I feel that that's on the person receiving it, right? Let me just take it to a Windows laptop. Hey, cool, here, have a laptop. But if they take that laptop and they're putting it on a blanket and they're causing heat to build up and they end up bricking it because it overheats, like, whose fault is that, right?
See how it tastes. Like water. It took me about a minute to fill this 5-gallon drum. How much water can this provide a day?
3,600 gallons a day.
Not only will this well cover the 400 kids at this school, but literally the entire neighborhood and village around this school can use this well.
We say thank you for the water.
Oh, no problem. This thing can basically pump nonstop for 30 years. You would think that having an effect of this magnitude would require the resources and funding of a large government, but that's not true. Solving this problem is possible, and something humanity should all be putting effort in to fix.
What's the secret of success?
To be honest, just find something you love doing and do it for a long period, and eventually you'll succeed. So I'm gonna...
That is I want to agree with his take. And to an extent, I do agree with his take. Absolutely. I mean, how long I've been doing React content for over a year at this point, right? And I try to do my best. I'm don't get me wrong, I'm not a MrBeast level. I can react to this, right? And I'll probably get a lot of blowback and, a lot of people that are just like, oh, you're just trying to clout chase, right? I feel that I'm trying to, at the very least, be fair and spark conversation, right? I have nothing against this dude. The fact that he has money and is willing to do this, right? Sure, even if there's incentive for views. Look, if I had money, I'd be buying my people that I know out of debt, giving people a second chance, right? It's not necessarily building wells for people, but hey, grats. Yeah, your student loan of $100 grand, done. Okay, now it's in your court to make what you will of your life. And if you end up back in debt, look, that's on you. At the very least, giving people that chance to get out of debt, right? Buying out my parents' mortgage, right? So that way they don't have to worry about it, right? That kind of thing. Paying off friends I've known, paying off their student debt. That way they can save up for houses and stuff like that. It's not like I'm doing something super huge, like buying them a $500,000 house, right? It's not like I'm doing that. It's that I'm giving them the keys to be able to do that. I would absolutely do stuff like that if I had the money. I unfortunately don't. And I think the world needs more people like that. I think the world does need more people that are going to think like MrBeast. And sure, if they're doing things for views, yes, that's how you're going to keep your revenue stream going. That's how you're going to keep doing things. Even then, there could also be an element of trying to ride outrage culture to success, right? I didn't hear he was building wells until somebody had said, oh yeah, there's controversy surrounding this. Of course, there's controversy surrounding this, right? But that controversy is also causing it to get more views. So, I mean, I guess the haters are just making it easier to find the source material in that case. So, I mean, there's absolutely things that people, with money could and should do, right? And yes, if you like something and you feel like you're good at it, yeah, absolutely. If you're a master technician, if you're a master mechanic, right? And you enjoy doing it, yeah. But I mean, there's also an argument to be said that, especially if you're in a situation with potentially bad management, right, or it's a bad place to work, you can burn out on something that you love. And I think that at a base level, when you're talking about generalizations, right, like statement asterisk, it's one of those things that yes, find something you're good at and do it over and over and over again until success, asterisk. Then if we want to have a discussion on, let's say somebody says, well, Kip, what about doing it for work? You know, like, hey, I'm a master technician, been a master technician for 10 years. You know, what are your thoughts on that? You know, and it's like, okay, now we can have a conversation about this, because we can have a conversation about doing what you like, but, you know, potentially burning out on it and causing you to be in a worse position. You know, we can have a discussion on that. I'm a fan of generalizations can be okay, but it's mostly for a generalized audience, right? Like, Resident Evil 5 is an okay game. I think like 99% of people out there would be like, oh yeah, cool, no, that's fine. And we don't have to delve into an argument, right? We don't have to develop into a further discussion. If somebody's like, well, Kip, what are your genuine thoughts on that? What do you think about the system? What do you think its departure from more of a horror style into an action game? Cool. Now we can have a discussion. I actually think it's a really good third-person drop-in, drop-out co-op shooter. I actually think it's really great for that. It's very arcade style. But you see how you can just cut through a lot of the crap with a generalization like that. So circling back to MrBeast, do what you want to do what, find something you're good at, do it again and again and again, right? I think that's an appropriate generalization. I think that's incredibly fair.
Bring it super close. See us? Is that cool? Yes. If you look up, it's recording. All right, well, I'm gonna get close.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, you can see yourself. We were also able to install a well for this village, and these 12 other villages. And while we were finishing these wells, we were also able to update one of their schools with brand new computers.
How are they liking it?
They like them.
Glad to see it turned out well.
And we also updated the classrooms with new furniture, installed shelves and filled them with new books, donated a soccer ball for every student, and even put modern whiteboards and projectors in all the classrooms.
I think the soccer ball is great, especially as somebody that grew up with NA education, right? And saw just year over year. I saw a video from, what was it, like the 1950s, in one of the Fat Electricians videos. And like kids in high school were doing like pull-ups and stuff. I don't, like, sure, you have your gym bros in high school that do that. Like, nobody in high school did that. They dreaded going to PE. I knew people who regularly tried to get out of PE because they didn't want to do it. And it's like, just year over year, we're seeing like just decline. And that gets into an educational argument. And I will let teachers that I know and teachers in chat actually dive into that one, because I am not a specialist in that regard. However, how impressive would it be just to, hey, cool, you know, there's not a whole lot, even if it's like a small town, right? Say if it's small town America, right? We're talking like small town where there's 2 bars next to each other and you got houses everywhere. Maybe there's the plant outside of town everybody works out, right? What are the kids going to do, right? Especially if internet's not strong in that area. Hey, cool, we got everyone in this town a soccer ball. We got everyone in this town pokers. We got, you know, equipment, right? I think that'd be a cool gesture at the very least. Like, I mean, what happened to these villages after MrBeast? What, I guess I don't know what happened after that. I'd have to actually look into that. Did something bad happen to these villages? No, PE needs to come back. But the point I'm trying to get across is, like, yes, giving them new computers. Yes, giving them new books. Awesome. Literacy is amazing. As somebody that regularly can't read, right? I regularly on stream cannot read. And these are all things that are small, but have near limitless potential, right? And I find that, like, super cool. Like, I really do, because it's like giving someone a gift, right? Sure, you can give somebody an Xbox One. Sure, you can give someone a Nintendo 64, right? Or you could give them, what did I give my buddy? It was a big it was an old finance, I think it was the Wealth of Nations, maybe, actually. Yeah, I think it was the Wealth of Nations. I got him, like, the Wealth of Nations because he didn't have it in his collection. Cool. Now he has a cool, iconic read that is now in his collection. And if he needs to reference it, he can be like, yeah, I have this. It's just, sometimes the shiny option is not always the best, as I'm trying to get across. And there's absolutely things that aren't the shiny option that can just pay off in spades.
You guys like the projector?
We were using a chalk and had a lot of dust, but today everything is clean. We truly appreciate it.
No problem. It's the least we could do.
But then when we flew out to the site of the 45th well, we realized this community had it even harder. Every time they need to get water, they need to take a treacherous mile-long hike through the jungle. And that mile-long hike also happens to be on a giant mountain.
I wake up very early, about
Someone in chat is already like, I could drive that. they would try to speed that.
4 o'clock
I know.
so that I can fetch water for the school.
We are not safe fetching water here. That place is very slippery. Chances of getting an injury is very high.
So while we worked on their well, the community took me to see how they currently source their water. You guys would have to make this trip how many times a day?
2 times.
2 times a day. Oh, wow. So a typical student would carry something like this?
Yeah.
Oh, God. If 200 students did this every day, how hard could it be?
It could be very hard.
Oh, boy.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think about how would that work in NA, right? Like, if you're in a small town or something like that, how would that affect the school day, right? You just have a single class period that's, like, dedicated to, like, life skills or something like that. And it's like, hey, cool, let's go down to this, like, creek or something and get water. Like, obviously, there's health issues and concerns that go along with that, especially leaving campus, right? I mean, you have to leave supervised. You have to make sure that whatever water source is kept, you know, not toxic, etc. Like, but I wonder, would that actually help though, right? Like, when you think about it, would that actually help in getting students up? Because, like, for example, like, I've been sitting here on stream at this point in time for almost 4 hours, right? Right? Even throughout the workday, right? Sometimes you need to get up, sometimes you need to walk around. I wonder if that would actually help. And you also get to, like, leave the classroom. But just, like, things like this, right? Just adjacent situations.
Dang, this is very steep. We're just walking down this mountain forever.
Every day.
It was actually surprising how difficult this hike was. And these people go through all of that just to get to this spigot. That's
Nice.
water is still unsafe to drink. This is where you guys get your water from normally?
Yes.
And filled with water, these jugs can weigh up to 40 pounds, which is
I mean, I think the argument here is, like, why, you know, wouldn't people just boil it? I mean, obviously they're going to have the means to. That almost looks like, what is that? I've seen that bottle before. Is that? It's not engine oil. That's radiator fluid potentially. I know I've seen bottles similar to that with, like, radiator fluid and stuff. Anyways, but, like, I mean, yeah, the argument is to just boil it, but, like, assuming there's time to do that, assuming there's just ready resources to do that, once again, sure that they can just, you know, have something, dump it into their giant crock pot and boil it, right? As anyone would. Laundry detergent, I could maybe see laundry detergent. But it's just, like, it helps streamline the process. Sometimes it's like, yeah, can people do things? Yeah. Do they have time to do things? No. Can people cook dinner every night? Yeah. Do people have time to cook dinner every night? Not really. That's why people go out to, like, fast food. That's why people get Burger King, why people get McDonald's, why people get Del Taco, right?
is insane
It's
for
time.
these
Time
children
is
to be
money.
carrying up this mountain.
The ladies can carry 2 of those.
Oh, I totally can as well then. And
Nice.
as soon as these jugs were filled, it was time to head all the way
Right,
back
but then
up.
also
Hurry up,
remove
let's
some of the
go.
water.
He's not even sweating or anything. I got it. And now, instead of spending hours a day for unsafe water, their new well is only 10 feet away from the school. So, they can just fill it up here now. I'm too tired. And so we were on our way to the next village where we built our 46 well, but we ran into a little problem. We found out that this village is divided in half by this huge, dangerous river. It may not look like much now, but when the rainy season comes, the water comes up this high and literally swallows this bridge. And why this
Right.
bridge is such a big deal is the village is over there, the hospital and schools are over there, so they're crossing this bridge multiple times a day. Despite
Right.
how dangerous this bridge is, it's their only option.
This river, when it is swollen, it can sweep away people, students, or even animals. In the recent past, we have lost about 3 people trying to cross this river.
This loss of life is insane and absolutely unacceptable. The moment we heard about this, we knew we had to help. So while we started work on a new bridge that would let them reach their well, we then traveled over 2,000 miles from Kenya to the country of Zimbabwe.
I don't think that's necessarily a hot take for him to have, though. Right? People are going to downplay it. Like, oh, loss of 3 lives, whoop-de-doo, right? I mean, you get more accidents in construction, I'm assuming, right? But, like, I don't think that's an egregious take to have. I mean, the reason we have certain entities like OSHA, the reason we have certain regulatory things is to prevent the loss of life. Now, it's a different thing when you show up to your job site or your work and your, coworker starts mixing bleach and floor cleaner, which I've gone over a number of times. Surprised that man actually lived. Like, yeah, you're going to get idiots. Like, you're totally going to. But I think MrBeast is absolutely on point with this, though. I think that any loss of life is seen as tragic. Yes, chat, you are right. 3 people is still 3 people dead. Like, that's egregious. It really is. So I don't think that's a hot take. I understand how that would be considered, oh, it's just 3 people. But it's still 3 people. in chat, the local warlords and criminals would swoop in once celebrities like MrBeast leaves, and the UN security also leave. They'll take control of the well from profit, dismantle education facilities, take the children. I need a citation on that in regards to what happened after the fact.
We've been in Africa for over a week, and we still have a lot more wells to do.
You kind of smell.
I know, it's weird. I showered this morning.
Wow.
Yeah. If you let me finish, I can put my arms down. Can I count on you two to finish these wells with me?
Yes.
First on the agenda was to check out a local hospital that was in dire need of clean water. Upon entering, we learned how big of an impact this clinic had on the village. How many kids do you guys give birth to a year here?
In a month, about 50.
Do 600 births a year? Wow. But unfortunately, the pregnant mothers at this clinic have to walk over a mile just to get water, and then carry these heavy buckets all the way back. However, the good news is we paid for the construction of a new modern well for them.
Nice.
All that needed to be done now was to turn it on. All right, Nolan, are you ready?
I'm ready. Over.
Let me get a dramatic zoom in. Nolan, I pressed the button. Is it working?
It's flowing.
You notice that it's still kind of snappy in the video, but when you have that uplifting emotional track playing in the background, and you have some longer scenes here, like him pressing the button and the water coming up, right? Like, it definitely fits the mood better than the beginning where, cool, we're going to bam, 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 get you caught up to 29, right? There's a lot of thought that goes into choreographing. Is choreographing the right word? Into designing these videos and the flow that it has.
Do we want to go check it out?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I love how people are immediately just getting water right now. This is easily the coolest thing ever.
Nolan here is a professional dancer. He will join.
How do I always end up dancing?
What is he doing? Oh, gosh. I won't make you watch this anymore. Besides ensuring access to clean water, a lot of the students at this village lack transportation. So we decided to give all of them new bicycles. I know it looks like a lot of kids, but we bought a lot of bikes. Full disclosure, I don't know how to ride a bike.
Jimmy only knows how to give away bikes.
Never learned how to ride one. Let's break in all the new bicycles. 3, 2, 1, go!
Like, I'm assuming in the background, I mean, like, they've got to have, this village has got to have some of getting new bike tires and parts and stuff like that, right? Like, I'm assuming that at the very least. Unfortunately, something that is rarely reported. So here's so if anyone in the comment section has citations to the articles, etc., and has like direct quotation citations on negative events that transpired after the fact in regards to, you know, warlords, etc., like, that is welcome in the comment section. But unfortunately, saying this happened is not, that itself does not classify as a citation. So I'm very curious to the after events of this, but word of mouth is not as solid in stone as I would like.
Oh, everyone's passing me. Be careful, I don't know how to ride a bike. I don't want to hit anyone. You want to ride it? All right, go for it, little man. Okay. And after giving away the bikes, we continue building wells until we reach well number 69. This solar-powered well is specially designed to aid the farmers in this village by providing more than enough water for all of their crops and livestock, even during the dry season, without any electricity.
Each panel is 200 watts. Then it's attached to a pump. That pump can pump 5,000 liters every hour.
Basically,
I mean, my concern is what if that goes out? But I'm assuming there's going to be replacement parts. I'm assuming they're like going to have the necessary technicians to be able to do that. I mean, it'd be a malinvestment if, right, they couldn't service a solar panel if something breaks, something drops, you know, something happens to it, right? So I'm assuming in the background something would have had to be done, like, hey, cool, they're in this area. I mean, there's going to be a technician or something that will be able to deal with this tech, right? I mean, as far as I'm aware, at least.
It's unlimited amount of water for this entire village.
that's incredible.
And after we left Zimbabwe, we wanted to continue to give water to communities all across Africa. So we built more wells in Uganda, Somalia, and Cameroon. If you want to see more of what we did in Cameroon, there's a whole video about that coming soon on the Philanthropy channel. Spending time in these villages really made me reflect on the importance of building wells, how it brings water to farms to feed the hungry, how it provides clean conditions for hospitals, and most importantly, how it helps the children of this next generation live long, healthy.
We're in the resolution of this video, not just by the bar, but you notice the video it had a beginning, it had an opening quote statement, if you will, right? Had opening paragraph, and then you had your first supporting paragraph, which was going to be building the first, you know, 30-ish wells. Your second one was going to be starting to move villages with the bridge. That was kind of your second pair. Like, we're breaking this down like an academic paper, right? Your third one was going to be that last little bit in regards to the bikes, the solar panels, the giveaways, quote unquote, if you will. And now we're in the resolution, the conclusion of the paper, quote unquote, if you will. And as you can see, we're at 99, right? And we are closing out the video at this point. So, I mean, you can look at this, right? There's still clearly structure to these videos. There's still clearly things that thought that goes in. It's not like he's just turning on a camera and somebody's just like, hey, cool, yeah, we're doing this today. We're building wells in Africa, right? You know, it's not like MrBeast turns on a camera, and I'm sure he could turn on a camera and get a lot of views that way, right? But there's a lot of time and effort that goes into this. Effort that I will argue is going to be syncopatic with, is that the word I'm going for? It's at least going to work well with monetization, right? You got your hook, you got your attention, supporting 1, supporting 2, supporting 3, and then you're going to end on a strong note, right? Oh, hey, go to the philanthropy channel, and he also, in that, hit the subscribe button. Cool, a little nudge, hey, you should go subscribe to that, right? Without actually saying it. How many times in a video have, you know, and videos that I've done as well, like, hey, you know, if you're looking at my playthrough of Genshin, or you're looking through a playthrough of RE6, go to the Kazuna Kip TV channel, right? And you're like, oh, he's saying the channel name, and he's just talking, and I don't want, right? It's a show, not tell, which, as someone, especially in game design, right, I've been very favorable of. In Dead Space, you get to see how the lurker takes down the dude from the other side of the glass, right? You get to see that it can attach to walls. You get to see that it fires projectiles. You get to see that how it runs away, how it runs around, right? It's showing you what it does rather than just in a text tutorial telling you what it does. Show not tell is very powerful. Do not underestimate that.
The lives and build the future for all of these communities.
We await a new dawn of clean drinking water. Water is life.
And with some help from the locals, we finally finished a new bridge that this community can use for the next 100 years.
Lives has been saved, families will come together, the worries will be gone.
The 100 wells we built in this video will change a lot of lives, but not enough. Which is why, before you go, I want to urge you all to go to beastphilanthropy.org/wells or click the link in the description and donate money if possible. We're literally not profiting a dime off this video. 100% of the money we raise is going to go towards building more wells like you saw in this video all around the globe. I know it's weird that a YouTuber has to do all this stuff, but someone's got to do it. And if no one else is, we're going to do it. As you can tell, it really does change the lives of the communities where we build.
So that's a weird one. So does that mean all the ad revenue that this video is going to get? Because, you know, advertisers are going to clamor and pay top dollar for slots for advertising on this, right? Does that mean that he's not getting ad revenue from this? That's the statement that I kind of look at and kind of scratch my head about, right? Like, I'm all for setting up a donation portal, especially when the donations go to that cause, right? Hence, see a recent situation with a prominent YouTuber and sitting on about $500,000-$600,000 in donated funds that never actually got donated as of recording this video. I'm not saying names, just the situation. You'll know, right? And I mean, like, I'm for that, absolutely, and it sets up that avenue. And as long as it's trustworthy, as long as it actually goes to it, cool, awesome. So that's an interesting one. To not process, like, to not get any. How do they, I guess they could technically see how much they made from the video, like go to YouTube Creator Studio and you'd be able to see how much, like, so if this video made $30,000, right, you'd be able to see, oh, this video generated you $30,000. Does that go towards the cause? Does that not go towards the cause? Does that pay people? That's one of those statements that I look at, and I'm having to nitpick here, right? Like, I'm definitely nitpicking here. So, like, it's interesting. I don't know. I'd be very curious on that.
And finally,
well 100.
Nice.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I mean, it was interesting. It was an interesting video because I'd never actually seen a MrBeast video. Generally, his style is kind of not up my alley, and that's just because it's just a stylistic thing, right? It's one of those that, like, yeah, no, I mean, he does things. It's not necessarily the things that I, like, watch. But it was very interesting seeing how somebody with this much success, this much prestige, if you will, how they do things. Another controversial thing with MrBeast. I don't know. It'd be very interesting. I mean, I would have said that donation, like, said the donation, like, I have to see the back end finances, but that's not something that we're going to have access to, and rightly shouldn't have access to, in my opinion. You know, a creator, if they want to show their earning statistics, if they want to show how a video did, like, I mean, that's up to them to show, but as far as I'm aware, that's not obligated to show anybody. It was an interesting video, interesting cause. I don't know if he made a follow-up on this. I know that a lot of controversy spawned out from this, especially due to claims being made about third parties in the region potentially causing conflict. I would treat anything like that until citation is proven as word of mouth because of the weight of these claims. And even with anything, it's a good example of, yeah, where you should definitely check what you're clicking on. You should definitely check the, sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here at this point. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Legal to divulge earnings statistics from YouTube and such. As far as I'm aware, it's not. I theoretically could just pull up YouTube Studio right now. I have no idea. I have to look into that. I didn't know there was any legality in regards to that. But I mean, what are your thoughts? Okay, to be fair, Twitter hating him, Twitter's Twitter. Like, I mean, I hardly pay attention to people's opinions on there. Like, ugh. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I don't know if I'll react to his content regularly. Just nothing against the dude, just not really my style, if that makes sense. And I figured I wanted to kind of see what all the quote-unquote controversy was about. I mean, he is trying to make people's lives better. You know, do or do not, there is no try, but he is trying, and that's all that matters. You are trying to do something, and whether it fails, whether it succeeds, you are at least trying. Twitter's always angry about something. I mean, that's just going to be a given. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this was a good reaction? Do you think this is a bad reaction? You know, do you want more MrBeast React content? I don't know if I can necessarily do that, but I thought this would be interesting nonetheless to go over. What are your thoughts? All that fun stuff. Please keep it civil. All that fun stuff. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. And if that interests you in helping that cause, definitely go check out MrBeast and check out the link that he provided. That'll do it for me. Have a good one.